Many blessings, family. Jesse Tree, reporting for duty. Good to see you all in the digital universe. I guess I'm not seeing you except through my social media. Hope you're all well out there today. Sending much love. Oh, Victor Orange, greetings, dear friend. Great to see your face again. Sending much love to you and your family. I just wanted to take a moment here and share some thoughts with you about health for winter and just some of the goings-ons in my own personal life with respect to health. We start off with offering a little bit of Palo Santo. Though it's digital, I still believe in the power of plants, and I feel like to offer you all a blessing and humble respect is my duty as a herbalist. I'm just here to share the wisdom of the plants and my own experience. So may all beings find peace, and may I find peace. Let me help all beings. Yes, many blessings to you all today. So grateful to be here in the world, alive, on 2 feet. We sometimes discount the hidden blessings that are ever present. And I just have been exploring a new healing modality over the last 6 or 7 months that has been extremely potent and life-changing for me. Mary, greetings, my cousin. Great to see you, family. Much love. Before I delve in completely into this whole thing, because it may be somewhat in depth, I'm going to report to you some of my research, as well, both in the realm of the occult as well as in the realm of science, with respect to fasting, and what I've come to feel and experience through that. And also, before I do, I just wanted to suggest some herbs that would be beneficial to bring into your life at this time. We're now at the changing of season. We just had the equinox. Happy fall to you all. And so now is a time when the body's circadian rhythms are changing and adapting to the different light cycle and the different cycle of weather. And oftentimes this shows up as illness. And it's really kind of just a changing over of the energies internally and externally, and through temperature and light and etc. And we can key in to this timing by bringing in certain herbs to stave off any illness, to keep you moving, keep you well. So the first I want to share is Ganoderma applanatum. This is our wild reishi, essentially, here in New Mexico. It is in the same family as the Ganoderma lucidum, or a reishi that is popular as a Chinese medicinal herb. And this herb is fantastic because it has adaptogenic immune modulating properties, which just means that if your immune system is too low, it'll bring it up. If it's too high, it'll bring it down in the cases of autoimmunity. And it generally tends to sort of strengthen the entire human system. Very also good reportedly for the respiratory system and to aid in relieving anxiety and stuff. So I offer a tincture of this that if you're interested in, you can private message me. And there are other tinctures available on the market. Paul Stamets has a good one. You can also check out my friend Dandelion. He makes various similar mushroom tinctures. And mushrooms are just an amazing way to bring in immune health. All mushrooms are immune enhancing. Even your button mushrooms at the store can have anti-tumoral, anti-cancer properties. But then there's really special medicinal ones. And some of the ones you can just buy kind of generically are things like shiitake, reishi, maitake, cordyceps, lion's mane, and a host of others. So I urge you to research medicinal mushrooms for your overall immune health in these times. We're immunologically challenged uh, due to stress, overwork, and the environmental pollution that we as bioaccumulators at the top of the food chain, uh, bioaccumulate, and that's what leads to a whole host of diseases. Um, so another good one here is our Phalaenus tremulae, or the aspen conch, and these grow on aspen trees here in New Mexico. And you can ask the trees and ask them, if they feel like sharing them with you. But they are a parasite to the trees, and so I think it's actually helpful to the trees to remove them and utilize them as medicine for the people. So I leave it to your higher guidance to look for these mushrooms in the mountains. I don't know of any available source. I don't make it myself, and but I do use it as a tea regularly. And so, yeah, just another medicinal mushroom to bring in. And then also wanted to share wild elderberry. If you can bring elderberry into your life, at this time, you can kind of keep illness at bay before it even gets to you. Because essentially, when someone catches a cold or something, they're overtaxed, either psychically or physically or both, and that brings their immune system down, and then they can pick things up, because things are just around all the time, whether that's in germ theory, the various microbes and bacteria and stuff, or in case of homeopathy, miasms that are changing energies essentially. So yeah, that's been just some herbs my family and I have worked with and that we've shared with others, and we've had good reports back of helping stave off allergies, helping stave off flu and cold, and so yeah, my little pitch. Anyway, enough with that. Now I kind of want to get on to the more personal realm. This has been really very very personal, and I try to share on this in my information on digital media, essentially just what the plants are up to and what they can do for you. I don't want to make this too much about me, but I have had a great deal of experience now with fasting. I've been doing fasting in various forms for, I guess it's about, sorry about that, folks. And it's increased. I've increased sort of the intensity of this fast, and it's so it started off with me just moving essentially to raw foods and doing juice fasts and an occasional 24-hour water fast, and I got amazing results from that. I would just feel so elated after or during a fast, or on a juice kick, and I kind of got hooked on that vibe. It was really enjoyable, both physically and kind of on the spirit level. And I deal with a lot of sort of anxiety, social anxiety, or anxiety about work things and stuff. And so I've been exploring the Buddhist path of meditation for now, since I was about 18, so I'm now 41. So about 23 years I've been exploring meditation, shamanic plant use, and dream exploration, and I've come to a place now, after doing all of this sort of inner work combined with working on my immune system and my diet, rebuilding my body essentially, that now I've been exploring long fasts. So the last one I did was in February. It was 4 days dry fast. So there's different levels of fasting. A fast could be, for a meat-eater, it might be just being, doing fruit for a day, all the way up to dry fasting, which is the most intense, which is no food or water. And science says you won't live past 3 days without food or water. I proved to myself that you can. Um, and there's people who have proved beyond that point extensively in medical hospitals and under the eye of research and etc. And this practice of fasting is ages old. Um, it was started in our early beginnings when we would move through periods of feast and famine, and the body is very well adapted to this. And as Americans, we're accustomed to eating between 3 and 6 meals a day. We just are eating all the time, and there's not this in and out breath, this empty and full cycle that is part of the wholeness of nature, right? So, um, after the 4 day fast, and coming up to this point, it was years of moving from raw food, and then like all of a sudden I just didn't want to have breakfast, so I'd have 2 meals a day. And then for like 2 or 3 years, it was just 1 meal of the day in the afternoon, around 4, between like 4 and 8. And my body just naturally cycled this way. I'm a gardener, I'm very energetic, and movement is part of this whole path. And we don't realize that there's other ways that we as human beings gather energy. There's energy available to us from the ground, that if you walk barefoot or if you touch the earth, there's actual electricity and negative ions and therapeutic anti-aging properties to simply touching the ground, as well as from the sun and the sky. There's cosmic energy, and we're piezoelectric um, uh, carbon silica crystals that are in terms of our skeleton, and we have this electromagnetic heart dynamo that circulates. It has a positive node and a negative node, and just like all cells and all stars and all planets, we too have this electromagnetic field, and it's connected to all the other electromagnetic fields through this subtle um, invisible universe. Um, and So this thing about fasting, you learn that you can live off air. For instance, there's this whole thing of breatharianism, which I've been interested in kind of peripherally, because it was tied to some of the other practices I was doing, like sun gazing and grounding and diet. And uh, I've come to find that after this 4 day fast, I've now been on mainly liquids with occasional dips into some solid food for the satiety, and the social reasons, um, since February. Um, so it's been really amazing. I feel a great like lifting and cleansing. Um, and all this thing is good to happen in cycle and season. This is actually not the good season for cleansing and fasting. This is maybe a little bit as we are moving into this time of year when we're susceptible and we could use an immunological kick. Fasting turns on the immune system, and it cleans up metabolic waste. It empties the eliminatory channels and in terms of Ayurveda, the subtle energy channels of the nadis, um, as well as like the channels of the respiratory system and the blood. It just kind of cleans up. It's like letting your body rest, so it doesn't have to digest food, and then your body can work on digesting all the stuff inside that hasn't been cleaned up. So it's an ancient practice amongst all cultures, and there's this book here called The Ancient Secrets of the Flower of Life, that talks about a time, potentially, when, and I think this is a very viable alternative history that could be reality, is that if you look around the earth, all over the earth, there's these pyramidal structures, right? Megalithic structures that we all scratch our heads about and wonder how the ancients made, right? They're off the coast of Japan. They're in Greece, they're in Bosnia, they're in Guatemala, they're in Egypt, they're all over. Um, they're in North America, they're they're everywhere. And so, there's some sciences that the ancients grasped that we did not. And in this book, he talks about um, uh, how we've been in, this Kali Yuga. We've been moving away from the galactic center and away from source, and we've been in a dimmer state of reality. And we're now 2012 was the moving back toward, um, the source, and some of our latent powers are starting to reawaken. So there's a lot of talk about this breatharianism thing. I kind of take qualms with that um, word because it implies, and especially in our culture, people tend toward a puritanical version of understanding of this, that person, if they're a breatharian, they would never eat food or drink anything liquid ever again. But the idea is that you can live off prana, you can live off breath, you can live off sun energy, and all for a fairly long time. Um, there was cases in Germany, I, I think it was in Germany, that they would punish certain people by putting them in prisons for 21 days without food or water, and if they survived, they were like canonized as saints, and people survived. And in this book, Spiritual Nutrition by Dr. Gabriel Cousins, he goes into great depth and detail about this whole thing, about the full spectrum of energies available to you as a medical doctor, explaining scientifically how this can come to be, you know. And he cites many historic examples and present day examples of people who are able to live off prana. Right now I've been following several people, namely Ray Mayor and Eli Tom Elamine, as examples of people who are living examples who live this lifestyle. And I myself have now, through many years of exertion, been able to embed this into my lifestyle. So I am now dry fasting daily 16 hours. So I'll stop eating at like 8. It's been drinking things, and we'll get into that. Um, from 8 o'clock in the morning till 12 noon, I don't eat or drink anything. And then after that, I'll usually have teas, broths, um, fresh pressed juices, or even store bought juices like, coconut waters. And, I try to explore with it and have fun with it. I'll make like, golden milk, with cacao and cinnamon, and, like this morning I woke up and the first thing I had at noon was lime water with magnesium sole, which is Himalayan salt infused in water, and a little bit of monatomic gold. And that was like my morning drink. And then I had some chai and some hot chocolate, and that's what I've had so far today. And through this, I've had very high energy. I'm able to, I have, maybe I can show you here a little bit, my farm. Here's my farm here that I've been growing and tending a food forest and building all manner of, uh, food storage shelters and chicken coops and cob buildings. And, I'm like a hyperactive person. I'm an Aries, by the way. So, it's been a fantastic experience. I want to introduce a little bit more reading material that has been part of my journey in gathering this up. One was the Essene Gospel of Peace, which I don't have a copy of present. I looked for it before starting, but it's essentially a missing, gospel from the Essene sect of Christianity, who are known for their longevity and for their ability to garden and produce abundance, which is something as a permaculturalist I have a high mind toward. And I really, and they go into this whole thing of healing through the angels of earth, wind, fire, and water, which, if you don't know, the meaning of Jehovah is, there we're back. Thank you. This is a huge point to us. We've been studying alchemy, Ayurveda, Chinese traditional medicine, and Native American herbalism, and across the world, this earth, wind, fire, water has been a major point to people for millennia. And they really are present, even if you think in modern terms. Earth is solids, fire, energy, air, gas, and water, liquid, right? These things are ever present in the universe, and they're ever present in our bodies. Our bodies are made out of these elements, essentially. Electrical elements, energy, the earth elements, your bones, uh, water, obviously, and air, oxygen. So we need these four elements, and they comprise everything. And as a pranic liver, you're trying to connect earth and sky, right? You're the ground energy and the earth energy in your heart, which is the unifying field of force in nature. And it's the singularity in Nassim Haramein's physics theory. And it seems pretty clear. The heart is the guide in Chinese traditional medicine. Now they're exploring through Stanford Heart Math that the heart is like 60% neural tissue. It has a larger electromagnetic field than your head, so we can utilize our greater mind by accessing our heart field, and it will open up the pineal gland and really give us higher consciousness rather than just forcing energy into our heads. Anyways, that's a whole aside. So there's this whole sort of esoteric tradition of harmonizing the elements in one's own body. And if you think about this thing about the ability to live off very little, one atom, if you split it apart, makes atom bombs, explosions that are, colossally destructive. And you are comprised of millions or billions of these atoms, if not trillions, or, I lose the count on such things. But be that as it may, you are a cosmos inside of yourself, and there's infinite energy within you, especially in your heart. I just want to extend love to all you people out there, my earth brothers and sisters. Sorry. This thing has opened up my emotional body more through fasting, and it's beautiful and it's precious, and I urge everyone to connect into your heart. So, big point. Anyway, moving on. Before I get too sobby. Another book of interest, Dr. Arnold Ehret's Rational Fasting, and Professor Spira's annotated version, etc., is really good too. I think that's actually the mucusless diet healing system, and that's where it's a little more detailed as to how you go in. But in this book, Dr. Ehret talks about how, as well as in this book, these two doctors explain about how if you don't fast, the base membrane of your colon that is responsible for the uptake of nutrient is blocked by mucoidal plaque. And most of us carry around mucoidal plaque plus 10 to 20 pounds of undigested red meat if you haven't undertaken some fasting or juice cleanses. So it's very important, to, consider this. I see my dear one is leaving. Everything good? Oh, something's up. Gotta go get Jeremy. Okay. I'm gonna wrap this up. Another book, 10,000 Songs of Milarepa, where he explains his life living in caves where he doesn't, but his tale is recounted, living off very little. And lastly, because something of familiar import has appeared to have arisen, healing the body with whole foods. Hold up, dear. I'm going to catch up with you. So with that, I bid you all do much love. I hope you all have a beautiful day, and be well. soon as I can finish